Okay, so we finished up our armature. The next thing we're going to do is assign our parts of our body to the armature. First you need to go into object mode. You're going to click on the character first, hold shift and click on your armature. Then you're going to push Control P on your keyboard and you want to select the one here that says with empty groups. Okay. Now we're going to click on the character and go into edit mode. Okay, and you want to have your wireframe and X-ray on for this next part. And go ahead and click on this green little triangle that says Object Data Properties. You can see here all of our bones that we created. Hopefully you named them. So what we're going to do is first we're going to hide the legs because we're not going to assign the legs just yet. Okay, so to do that, if you grouped everything, so see how all mine's grouped into one like we did, you're going to press L over your leg and it should highlight it. Okay, now select your other leg by hovering over it and press L. So you're not clicking with your mouse on anything, you're just hovering and pressing L. Okay, so to hide these you press H on your keyboard. Okay, to bring them back you push Alt H on your keyboard to bring them back. Okay, but we want them hidden for now, so let's leave it on H. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select the part of our body that we want to assign to our head bone. So look where your head bone is. Mine starts here and ends right here. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag over those sections. Right now I have my edge select. It might be easier to do it on a face select. Just kind of turn it around and see if you got everything selected. If there's something up here that you want to move separately, then you want to go back and hide that part too to be able to only select what you want for your body part. Okay, so I have that selected. I'm going to go find my body bone, which is right here, and I'm going to click Assign. Okay, now what we're going to do is we want to select the rest of this part for our hip. So go ahead, you can click and drag over that. Make sure you got everything. If you're in X-ray mode, it should get the back too. Okay, we're going to find hip.002 and assign that there. Okay, now go ahead and you can turn back on your material preview. Go to object mode, click on the armature, and go to pose mode. And we're going to use the rotate. So if we move this head here, we can see that it's moving, but it's a little bit not super smooth, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to object mode. You're going to click the armature first, hold shift, click the character, and then go into weight paint. Okay, so you can see right here with our hip.002 selected, and then if you click body, you can see what's selected there. Okay, so red is the majority here, and then it kind of blends in the middle to give it like a little ease there. Okay, so what we want to do is click on the body bone here. Okay, and we need to blur this out more. So go ahead and get your blur tool here, and we're just gonna kind of start coloring that in. Now if you accidentally click something that you shouldn't have, like your feet, it should be okay because we're not painting. Just make sure that you don't get any paint anywhere down here on your feet, okay? Okay, so now we're on, let's see, we're gonna go to hip.002 and we're gonna blur this out also. Don't forget the back. Okay, so now let's go to object mode, select your armature, and go to pose mode. Let's click on that bone that we were moving earlier, which is this one. I'm not sure if you remember how it moved before. If not, you can rewind, but it's moving a little bit smoother. If you don't like it, you can always go back into, you click Armature, then Character, Weight Paint. And you can always try to blend that more. I'm trying to see I have hip too. Okay, so now we are gonna go to weights and click normalize all. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to object mode. Okay, so now we can start the legs. So click on your character and go into edit mode. We're gonna press Alt H to unhide those legs. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna hover over these legs again and press L. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so with your legs selected, make sure you have your foot. If you have different parts of your legs and feet, you're gonna, press P on your keyboard. This is gonna separate. You're gonna do separate by selection to click that. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to object mode real quickly. We're gonna select our legs, go into edit mode. Click your body and hide your body for now. Okay, so now all we see is the legs. Okay, click on your armature and go into pose mode. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to click A on our keyboard to select all the bones. Click on this little bone down here, and we're gonna go to where here it says deform. And we're going to uncheck that. Now we want to see if it unchecked everything and see that it didn't. So press A again and we got to uncheck it a different way. Okay, so you're going to hover over the check mark. You're going to press Alt. Hold down the Alt key, hovering over the check mark. Get your mouse to sit right there. Hold down Alt, press Enter. Holding Alt, press Enter. Okay. Now check, and they should be gone. Yes. Okay, if you're having issues with that, you can go select every bone and uncheck the deform, but that might take, easier if you can do it that way. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select your thigh, leg, and this first bone here, foot bone. Hold shift, thigh, leg, first bone here. Now we want to turn on the deform for these, okay? I know it's confusing. So hover over that deform, just like we did. Hold down Alt, press Enter. Now only these bones should have it, but the other ones should still not have it, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go here to object mode. I'm going to go ahead and get a frontal view here. Here's what we're going to do. Hold on, my armature is an X-ray and I don't want it to be. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, again in object mode, select your legs, hold shift, select the armature. We're going to push Control P, and this time we're going to select with automatic weights. Okay, so now we are going to go to pose mode. Go ahead and get a view here. Click on your foot control. Go ahead and start moving that up, and you'll see now your foot should be moving. Right? It should be moving okay, assuming your bones were made and parented right, is what I would assume. Okay. Okay. So now that we've done that, go ahead and press A on your keyboard to select all your bones. We're going to come back over here on this deform, hover over it, press Alt on your keyboard, and Enter. Again, the check mark should appear. If you click on these bones, they should have the check mark again. Okay. Okay. One last time for the deform. Okay. Select your knee bones and your foot control bones on both sides. Okay. Should have those four selected. Hover over that deform. Hold down Alt, press Enter, and make sure again that it took that away, or you can just click on them and uncheck it. Okay, those are the only four that should not be deformed. Sorry, I forgot one, but instead of just going back, I'm just going to click it. Okay, so this hip.001, make sure you're on hip.001. This one's also not going to have deform, okay? Just .001. Okay, so now we'll go back to object mode. You can press Alt-H to unhide your body, which unhid everything else. Let me take that off. Okay, so make sure you're in pose mode. If you don't see the pose mode option, you have to click on your armature first and just kind of mess with these different bones to see what it does. You can see now our legs are moving according to when we move our root. Okay, you can see this here. We'll move. We can come over here and move our leg, right? Okay, so there's some different things you can do there now. Just kind of make sure it's all working. Now, an easy way to get this back to the way it was before is just press A on your keyboard, go to Pose, Clear Transform, and select All, and that'll put it back exactly how you had it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back into object mode. We're going to select our body here, and then hold Shift and select the legs. We want to join those back together, so go ahead and right click and select Join, and now those are back together. Should still work the same. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to attempt to make this eye be able to blink, okay? To do that, you want to add a new bone. Okay. Click on your armature, go to edit mode. I'm going to press Shift A to add a new bone here. And I'm going to, click on that bone. And for now, I'm just going to drag it here in front of the eye. I'm going to scale this down. Okay, and just kind of set it there. Okay, for this one, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to uncheck in front, and I'm going to literally put it in front of the eye. Okay. So that should be fine right there. I'm going to bring it out just a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have to make another one of these. So I'm going to... Okay. This is going to be I dot... This is his left, so I dot L. Okay, Shift D, bring it over here. This is going to be I dot R. Okay, so you should have those two. Let's go into object mode. So we're in object mode. We select our character. We're going to come here. This is our vertex groups, and you can see that our eyes are not on here. So we're going to add a new group, and we're going to rename this exactly like this. So we have I.L. Make sure it's exactly. If you have capitals, use capitals. If you have lowercase, use lowercase. If it's not exactly the same, it's not going to work. Okay, so we added that. Now let's add another. This is going to be I.R. Again, make sure it's spelled exactly the same way you have it there. Okay, now we'll go here into edit mode. Okay, we're going to hover over this I, press L on your keyboard. Right now I have that selected. I want to undo that. Press L on your keyboard. This again is my left eye, so I'm going to go to my I.L and click Assign. Now I'm going to come over here, press L. Again, make sure only that eye is selected. Click on I.R, press Assign. Okay, now let's go check that. So we're going to go to Object Mode, select our armature. Go into pose mode. Might not do anything yet, so you can see how now this eye, we can move it. So in your animation you could move that, and to make it blink, what you would do is scale it. So you can scale it down to blink and then back up, or to wink, something like that. Okay, if there's any other part, we don't want to get too much into the mouth because that takes a really long time, and that's not really what this assignment is for, but it is nice to have your eyes to be able to move in an animation. So now we are able to move that. To animate this, there are some different things you can do. So right now let's go, here is your timeline. We have frame 1 right here. You have to do this in pose mode, okay? Redo all that. Okay, so I have one. Okay, so let's say I want my pose, my animation to start just like this, right? So I'm going to press A on my keyboard. That's going to select the entire armature. You have to make sure you do that, okay? You have to, anytime you make a keyframe, select all, okay? Press I and do location, rotation, and scale. That's going to insert a keyframe, saving your rotation, location, and scale, okay? Now we're going to move up. I would say to move in 10 to 15 to 20 increments, okay? Don't do anything, unless you want to like super fast speed, don't do that. I'm just going to go to like 12 maybe. Now when this plays, it's going to play in a lot slower motion than what it is when you actually render it. So just because it looks slow, don't go and try to speed up your frames because you think it's moving too slow, because then when you render it, it's going to be moving super fast and then you're going to have to go back and redo it again. Okay, we don't want a super fast animation. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make it look like my little character is jumping. So I'm going to click like right here on this hip bone here, and I'm going to kind of bring it down. You'll notice as I bring it down, his legs are kind of squatting, which is what I want. Okay, you notice how his eyes moved up, which I like that. I'm going to leave that like that, or you can move the eyes, okay, if you don't want them like that. And you don't have to do this animation, okay? You can animate your character how you want. After you get your second pose down, you're going to press A on your keyboard to select all that armature, right? Press I on your keyboard now to insert the keyframe, and just do location, rotation, and scale. You might not have messed with the scale, but that's okay. It's just better to put it on there just in case, right? Okay, so now I'm moving up. I'm going to just do in 12, so I'm going to go to 24 next. So I'm going to make it seem like he's jumping. So first I'm going to move this whole thing up a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of straighten him out. Okay, I'm going to press A to select all my armature, and then press I to insert a keyframe for location, rotation, and scale. Now I'm going to kind of see what it looks like. So I can go back to my frame 1 and press play. Okay, that's good so far. I need him to go up higher now, so I'm going to go to 36. And I'm going to move him up. And maybe now his eyes are going to do something different. If I want these to both kind of be moved at the same time, I can select both of them and scale them. It looks funny. I'm just going to go ahead and put that keyframe there because I can always go back and change it. So I'm going to press A for all. Click insert, location, rotation, scale. I'm going to go back and look at that. I'm not sure how I want that to look. Goes up. Maybe he does something here. So let's see what's next. 36, 45. Maybe now his eyes are going to go back. So I'm going to put them back to where they were. So I'm going to select those two bones, go to pose, clear, transform all. Oh no, I don't want that. And just raise him back up. Okay. Maybe now he's going to move his head a little bit. If I do that, I want, you know what? I think I need to parent these to this bone. So I'm going to go back, click on my armature, go to edit mode, and I'm going to parent my eyes to my body bone. So I'm going to push Control P, keep offset. Okay, I'm going to go back to object mode. And go back to 40, 45. Okay. Need to move those. Oh, I'm in. Go to pose mode. Move these down. Scale them back. So then now if I rotate my head, my eyes will move with it, and I'm not having to do that. I know, he looks funny. Okay, press A, select all, I, location, rotation, scale. That looks too close. Okay. So I need to fix his eye here, because when I parented it, messed it up. There? No, it's here. Right here. I need to fix it. Okay, press A, I, location, rotation, scale. Okay, let's see if that fixed it. Oh, went backwards. Okay, and then now maybe he's gonna go back down. Do 50 to 63. Move this. Maybe now he's gonna go this way. And he's gonna start moving down. Let's not make him move down all the way. Maybe right here. I'm gonna go and press A, enter location, rotation, scale. Okay, now he's gonna come down here, hit the ground. Gonna move his body back straight. Actually, I'm gonna move his whole pose back to the way it is supposed to be. And when he lands, you know how when you jump and you land and usually your what is it? Legs are still bent. So I'm gonna, whoa, not like that. Move, I want to move it down. So like he landed there, okay. All I, location, rotation, scale. Then he's gonna come back up. All, I'm gonna go to pose, clear, all. I'm going to make him blink again using my scale. And all I, location, rotation, scale. Then see what I was on 77. Do 83. All, select all. I'm going to clear that. And maybe he tilts his head a little bit at the end. You know what? Maybe he tilts his whole body at the end. Then, if you want to try to make it into a GIF, you want to end on the same pose that you started with. So that's, I'm about to end mine here on 90. I'm going to go clear transform, put it back there at the beginning, and make my keyframe. Oh. Okay. I'm going to spread that out a little more. Remember, it's going to probably render a lot faster than what it plays. So if it already looks fast, then it's too fast. Okay, I think I like that better. So I have 100 frames. When you're done with your animation, again, your animation does not have to be like mine. We're going to go to this little printer looking thing, which is output properties. Okay, right now my end frame is 100, but that's where he lands, right? Maybe I want it to go a little bit further. Maybe I want him to pause there for a few seconds, because then it's going to restart. So maybe I do like 105. So I'm going to go to my end frame. Right now it's at 250. So it would render all the way here and it would just be standing there for the longest time. So we're going to change that to 105. I'm doing one more. 106, okay? You can see here it ended our animation here. So if we played it, it should end and then it restarts. So if you made it into a GIF, that's kind of how it would look. And I'll show you how you can make it into a GIF after we render it as a video, okay? So now what we're going to do is, this is the most important part, because rendering animation takes longer than rendering an image, and you'll see that. You want to make sure that you have at least, I would say, 30 minutes of class time left to render an image. It might not take that long. It just depends how long the animation is, and then like how much of all this that you have. Like, okay, if you had more characters, more background and all that, it would take a lot more. Before we do that, let's go ahead and turn this all back on and look at it in the render preview, okay? Actually, let's put your camera mode there. We already know we're gonna need more room, because, or I am, because mine jumps, right? So I need to go ahead and play this where he's at his highest point, which is right about here. And I need to get my camera and zoom that out. So let me do my split screen. Okay, turn that on. I'm in pose mode. I gotta be in object mode for this part. Let me go, I'm gonna delete my reference image because that's probably gonna render. I'm gonna delete it. Okay. Move this back. I think I'm gonna change so there's not so much dead space over here. I'm gonna do 1080 by 1080, so it's a square, and then it's not gonna look so weird. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it about right here. I'm gonna play it to see if how it looks in my camera view. Okay, so I can zoom in a little bit more, maybe. Try it again. Okay, make sure you're good with the lighting and all of that. Okay, I think I'm good with that. Again, make sure you have your render preview. That is what it's going to look like when you render it. Now back over here, we're going to go to output. Again, this is the most important part. If you don't select an output, you render it and you basically render it for no reason. Okay, you have to do this, because if you don't, you'll sit there through the render and then you're not going to be able to find a file because you didn't put where you want to save it. Okay, it's a lot different than the render image. So go ahead and click here on this folder and find where you want to put your animation. So I'm putting mine here in my downloads folder. Just going to name it Pig Animation and click accept. So that should come down here. That's where you're going to find your animation, okay? Now, you have to change the file format, okay? Go to the FFmpeg video, okay? And then that's it for this part. Make sure you have all of this like that, okay? Now, we're going to go to render and we're going to select render animation. Again, rendering an animation is going to take longer than your render image. You can see up here how many frames it's rendered so far. So I have 106 frames. So mine is not going to be finished until it says frame 106. So do not exit out. See these green bars here? I don't know what colors yours might be, but if it's doing that, it's still rendering. So don't exit out. Leave it alone. You can always go back to your, you can do things on Google while you're waiting, but just leave this alone. When it stops turning green, it's probably done. You can come check it and see what frame you're on. Okay, if it says the ending frame, then that's good. So I'm just going to let this render and then I'll come back and tell you what to do when it's done. Okay, so mine finished rendering. It didn't take that long, maybe 5 minutes, if that, maybe not even. So as long as you have about 10 minutes to spare, I think you'd be good to render it. Now, before you exit out, go to your folder where you saved it. Hopefully you remember where you saved it. and it should have it should still be called what you have, but have the MKV at the end of it, and then you should be able to play it. If there's an error, you might have to just render it again. Okay, so that's that. You can turn in that file, that's fine. Also, if you wanted to make it into a GIF, I forget, I think it's GIF generator or something. Video to GIF, that's what you gotta choose. Okay. I don't know if this file will work. If not, we'll have to change it into a different file. Okay, convert to GIF. And then there's your GIF file. And you would save it. So then you have a looping GIF. So it's up to you. Whichever one you would want to turn in, that's fine with me.